Greetings and salutations. I'm going a little crazy with a horn. Alright, let's see what's in here. That's what I'm after. Alright, this is a Kelly Hot Shot space heater. This has got to be almost, if it's not, it's got to be pretty close to 50 years old. I remember in 1972, my father bought his first, I think it was his first brand new delivery van. It was a 1972 Chevy half-ton. I think it was a full-size van. I don't think it was a short one. He bought it in the wintertime. It was colder than a witch's tit. And Mr. Paris from Paris Sign Company came over on a Saturday and started lettering it. Hand-painted lettering. And this thing belonged to my uncle, and my dad borrowed it, and he brought it up to the garage to heat the garage so that the paint wouldn't freeze. Lettering enamel. This thing sat for years. And it operates much like a fuel oil furnace. This is the thing that's going to give me grief. Because I bought this thing, I want to say it was back in 2001 or 2. My uncles retired. They sold the business to their kids, and they ended up losing the business. And I bought this thing at a foreclosure auction. I think I paid $10 for it. I did have it working, but having that nozzle, it's a really small nozzle. It's a ½ gallon per hour, but I'm going to go online and see if I can find ½ gallon per hour at 100 psi. Yeah, I had this thing apart. The pump was seized when I first got it. Like I said, it sat in a shed for decades, and then I got my dirty little mittens on it and got it working for a second. Of course, I'm such a hoarder. I hauled this all the way from frickin' Michigan when I moved out here in 2005, and it sat in storage for a long time. It's been sitting here since we lived here. I think I pulled it out once to see if it would work, and it didn't. It would pump fuel. It pumps fuel. It just didn't ignite it. I don't think it was atomizing the fuel adequately enough to go off, because the igniter is working. It's not atomizing the fuel. And that was the issue that I was having before, is that the nozzle was plugged in. And so I ended up getting a new nozzle. But I was in Michigan when I got the new nozzle, and I got the new nozzle from, where did I get it from? I think I got it from Coochie's Hardware. And Coochie's Hardware was one of those hardware stores that if they didn't have it, they never made it. You know what I mean? One of those old school, like multi-generational hardware stores that had everything and had stock on the shelves from 80 years ago. That's the kind of hardware store this Coochie's was. And Coochie's, I think, went out of business in 2008 during the last economic downturn. I'm going to pull this up by the garage and take the cover off and see if I can get the nozzle off. And then we'll go online and see if I can find any parts for this thing. The Kelly company went out of business decades ago. I can't find any information on this company at all. If you have any information about the Kelly Machinery division of the Weisner Wrap Company in Buffalo, New York, comment in the comment section, and or pass on any information that you may have so that I can do some back story on these things. This is kind of old, antiquated technology. Technology certainly changed. It's much simpler and not as parts intensive. But still, I have a little connection with this, and for nostalgia's sake, I'm going to see if I can get it working. And if I can't, then I'm tossing the son of a bitch to the curb because I'm tired of hauling this thing around. So once the cover's off, you can see how this works. You got a combustion chamber. You can open and close this to allow more or less air in. You got a fan that's attached to a small electric motor that has a pulley on it that drives the pump. You got a General Electric transformer, ignition transformer. It's got some fuel in it. Smells like diesel. We can plug it in. Everything. I know it ain't gonna work. We can try. See that sparking in there? No fire. So I'm going to take, I believe I'm going to take this off to get to the nozzle, which is inside of here. So let me do that right quick. Right. Let me see. Yep, there's the nozzle. Alright, now the pump is turning. Maybe turn this. Okay. Yeah, turn that valve and see if that. Turn that valve and see if that makes it work or not. Oh yeah. Well, shit, son, all I needed to do was turn the freaking valve on, you freaking maroon. So about to get it, see if I can make it work. There you go. Exactly. That's what it's doing. Was doing before. You see here, diesel fuel pouring out. So it's not atomizing the fuel enough. I'm running out of daylight. So I'm going to pull this thing back apart for a second time, and I'm going to get into that nozzle and pull it out and see if I can't either clean it or go online and find another half a gallon per hour nozzle. All right. Well, here's the injector plate. And those two spark plug looking things are the igniters, and those seem to work good. Maybe I can close up the gap, and maybe that'll help. I doubt it. Yeah, that might help a little bit. The thing that's really dicking me right now is the nozzle. I know I replaced this thing 18, 19 years ago. See, back in the day, this kind of stuff was meant to be repaired. So this has a little jet in it and a needle. And if I drop it, I'm screwed. I see light through that. It's a very small hole. God, I can't see shit. If you guys that are in your late 20s, early 30s, don't worry, it's going to happen to you too. Well, I wish I could describe. I know I can never get this thing to show up on camera. That fucking dog. Shut up! Like I said, I don't see anything, you know, really obvious. With this nozzle. Hold on, I need to go get somebody to bring that dog inside. God, that barking piece of shit. Heather! 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 Let the dog in! If you ever have kids, the best thing you can do for them, in my opinion, is to don't let them get any kind of electrical device until they're in high school. Don't do it. That's Pandora's box. You'll never get that genie back in a bottle. Once they have those devices in their life, man, it's so hard to get them pried away from it. They don't hear you. You be standing right in front of them, and you might as well be talking to a football. In fact, I would venture a guess that you'd probably get more response from a football. Don't do it. Keep them away from those freaking Kindles and those iPads. This has a little pressed copper filter that stops the big bits from getting into the nozzle. It's not plugged. Made in USA. It's no cheap China crap here. This is made in USA. So just to illustrate, the nozzle goes in here in the housing. It gets screwed into place. Snuggle that down. There. So this is supposed to spray out and atomize it as it comes out the tip. And that igniter ignites it, and put this back together and try it again. If that don't work, let's go online and see if we can't find a nozzle. All right. Has back together. Turn this valve on. Flip the switch. Let's see if it fires up. Look at that. Ah! Holy cow! That will wake you the fuck up if you touch those two electrodes. Holy. Alright, before I gave up on it last night, I did a couple of things. I looked inside the fuel tank, and of course that's not going to show anything. And my freaking flashlight's in the house. You stupid goof! Looks lovely, eh? The problem that I'm having, and last night I had this thing, it fired for a minute, and I didn't have the fan blade on, so that's integral in having this thing work. And for some reason there's some kind of obstruction or something in it. Oh, and by the way, don't touch those when the thing is running, because it'll light you up like a Christmas tree. My God. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Is 60-year-old. This was likely made back in the 50s, for crying out loud. If I can't get this running in relative short order, it's going to scrap heap. I'm tired of being owned by my stuff. I'm growing weary. Tired of fixing shit. So let's see if we can get this thing running. If I can't, I quit. Put the gauge on it. Turn it on. It's operating at 90 psi. Cheers. I don't even know if I can get heating oil out here. I'd probably have to buy kerosene. But there you have it. It works. I did find a line on Amazon for some fuel tips. This takes half a gallon per hour at 80 psi. And if you need one, check the description. I'll put a link to one of those fuel oil tips. And you know, an enterprising guy could probably build one of these himself for a few $100. But why would you do that when you go down to Tractor Supply or Walmart and buy one off the shelf for $100? Just plug it in and use it. I'll tell you what, I'm getting sick of working on this old garbage. I own the thing. It doesn't cost me anything. It cost me $8 to get a new tip for it. And I guess the lesson learned here is don't let your shit sit for 5 years. Well, thanks for watching. If you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button underneath this and the little bell icon next to it. If you like old shit, slam that like button and share this with your vast social media network. Until next time, You have fun, stay safe, shoot straight, keep your powder dry, and have a splendid day. Put this pig back together and on to the next thing. All right, thanks so much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye. Holy f***ing God, good. That will wake you the f*** up if you touch those two electrodes.